Hello everyone, it's Cheryl Millett here live at 5 for a Monday, October the 11th, 2021. Happy Thanksgiving for those who are celebrating, but happy harvesting in a lot of ways. In Canada, be it garden season is starting to really wrap up. There's a few things in the earth like carrots and beets, and I think we have still Brussels sprouts. And most of it is because we start a little bit early. Others have eggplant still to go, but it seems like people harvest at different times. A harvest moon is a good time to harvest a lot of things. I know the tomatoes at our garden got blight on them, and so therefore of the ones that weren't ready at harvest moon, probably half of them are go. But that is the nature of things in the garden. It's not about everything coming to ripeness either. It's just it's just the way we work. And I have to tell you, the biggest thing, current time frame is too low. Please set the frame at 15 to 60. Action needed. I have no idea what this means, to tell you the truth, but that'll be later. So whatever that means, it sounds like in Facebook they want you to set different things now. Like at the end of the day, you are able to do this. Anyway, crazy. So as Live at 5 as usually is, we have something completely new, something different, and actually there's two things I wanted to bring up. And then, what's in the news? What's shaking? What's people are talking about? What are people, just the news is saying? What do they want you to believe? What is that you need to be aware of? And it's all of those things. And then we're going to speak to some jokes. That's Live at 5. Very simple, but can be fun and be interesting, and allowing people to just be with their life, but at the same time take things with a grain of salt, and don't take it too seriously, but yet be aware. Let's jump into something completely new, something completely different. First, I'm going to just add on to the thing I spoke to the other time, which is sunflower heads. You can take a whole sunflower head, but where it is still young enough, not turned to seed, and you can bake the whole head in the oven. So I did that, and it worked out amazing. And I wish I had taken pictures, and if I get to do it again, I will definitely take pictures. But I do have the seeds, so they're greenish like, I'm going to say almost pumpkin color on one part, but creamy on the other side. Almost tastes like corn. Very nutty, very sweet, but not exactly like corn. But again, if you have sunflower, now this is from the giant sunflower. I'm not sure if all sunflowers are the same, but I can't see why not. But that leads me to the next something completely new, which is, in that case, maybe sunflowers, you can just bake the head, when they're young. You have to, it can't be turned to seeds because they would be too fibrous, as you know what a sunflower seed looks like with the shell on and the seed inside. It's too shell. But this is, I harvested some beans because I'm shelling them to take the bean pods out, and I located a very long one. I wish I had kept it, take a picture, but it was probably a good foot long. And I remember these particular beans had a red flower, and my uncle mentioned it looked like a lima bean. Now I'm familiar with a lima bean. They're usually white, and they're more oval shaped. And so I was curious. I almost was going to eat this bean, but I could see that it was big, and when I opened it up, it had these beautiful, beautiful reddish purple. Now I'm going to show you a couple of them because they do have kind of different coloring, but you can see it. See if it'll get into, yeah, you can see it. And here's the more purple one. Yeah, more purple, but you can see purpley, almost like pinto beans, but not. So I have a whole tray here of, now this is a different bean up here, which is all nice and dry, but I'm driving. That's because I'm going to talk about something about driving. These particular lima beans, you can't eat them raw. They're poisonous. And what I learned is you can't eat the greens. These are called shelling beans, which means you don't eat the green. You don't eat the green shell. Now I'm going to do further investigation, but it says not to eat them. I almost bit into it just to taste it, and there was a much smaller one, so I got the longer one, but I got a smaller one, what looked like a younger one, and I did eat one of the little young beans in there. Now I'm here to talk to it, and then my uncle did the same thing out of that young one. Let's see what they are. And they were interesting color. I actually probably threw them out, but before they turned the purple color, they were kind of pinkish with a little purple on the top, and this is one of the bigger ones in there. Through the other ones, we're almost like creamy with like a purpley pink on the top, but there was a creamy part. Again, when things are young, they look different, and it's almost, if you're getting into foraging or you're getting into plants and gardening, to see what things look like as they go along so you could tell what they are. But these were lima beans, and they're deadly. They're like kidney beans. You can't eat them raw, and you can't eat the green. They're shelling beans only. So crazy as that is, I don't know if they just tell you these things. And what is poisonous? Really, what is poisonous when it comes to eating certain foods? Well, I can tell you another bean story. And the other bean story was, I think it was navy beans. And I sprouted them, because I usually make baked beans, but I decided I was going to sprout them. Like, there's mung beans and, navy beans. I thought and apparently, and if you're going to eat them raw, they have to be sprouted really, really well. There's this toxin there, and I brought it up in a salad at my sister's place, and I drove to my father's after that, so we kind of ate but didn't eat all of them, and I noticed they were a bit bitter, so I didn't mind not finishing the salad for two. And when I got to my father's, and I was the phone rang, and it was my sister asking me to put me on the phone. I said, I can't, I gotta go to the bathroom. So let's just say a clean out. So there was something in the navy beans. We ate too much. They were sprouted, but not sprouted well enough, and they should be cooked only. And apparently some articles say you can sprout them, and you have to be careful what you put in the, let's say the URL if you're searching. And, what's the downside of sprouting navy beans? And that's what I did, but after the fact, and found out that there could be a deadly toxic poisoning there that can, if in larger amounts, be deadly, but highly toxic. So we probably were on the borderline, definitely did not, how do they say it? We did not skim over it. We actually were probably somewhere in the middle, where we had a massive cleaning out of the intestinal tract, so much so I had to actually hang around for several hours to make sure. An hour drive home was doable. And so funny as it is, so lima beans are the kind of same way. So part of me sharing this is really to understand that even though things are pretty beautiful, indeed beautiful, you should probably read up on things anyway when it comes to certain things. So I'm gonna leave that as something completely new there. Lima beans gardening. So now I'm doing gardening. It'd be great to have some shell beans, absolutely, but not to test the waters for eating them raw. Absolutely that. So what do we have going on in this world? A lot, and some people feel it'll all blow over in the next year, as in they can see the writing on the wall in some countries where they completely have taken down everything. They have, even in Iceland, have closed and not using Moderna, and other countries are following suit. Other countries are just dismantling everything, while you have other countries seemingly still in the thick of it. And surely here in Canada, it is definitely a big push, still a constant big push, and the numbers keep rising as far as what they would like to see. We would like to see our Mayor John Tory in Toronto 90%. No, 70, 65. That's not good enough anymore. Last month he said 90%. So what is it? So you see these numbers. But I just watched well, in this last week, a short video by a fella, I think he's in Jamaica, I'm not sure, and you might have seen this already, but now 10 regions now on Earth. This is where Africa and certain regions, they come together as one region, and then the Oceania, one region, and this is something to do with G7. So very interesting. These groups that are what I would say overarching right now in the leaderships of all the various countries in the world, you have them like the G7, the UN, the World Health Organization, you have the Global Economic Forum in there, very tied to a lot of corporations. But in this particular thing, it is where he is describing that the passport goes away that we know it, the driver's license goes away as we know it, and the health card goes away as you know it, and it's going to be replaced. Now, I'm not saying it is, but the talk is, and definitely saying that in a word on the street, let's say, or maybe even more in depth than that, that it will all be replaced by a Vaxx pass. And that means that, I guess, if you don't get it, if you don't behave, don't do as you're told, don't pay this, don't pay that, then what? Then what? Are they going to take this away, take that away? He even went on to say, as much as to say, make sure, because everything might be connected. We think of China and how the bank accounts are connected, or at least even controlled by the very think of China and how the bank accounts are connected, or at least even controlled by the various powers to be to do this and do that, even based on social credit system. And another video where it's talking about it's already coming into play in certain ways in the US. So the social credit. So that is very interesting. We already had exposure to this through China and what they're doing over there, and it would be interesting to see how things are. You almost see that certain things are happening, then they're not happening, and then they come to pass, and then it's a whole complete 360 or 180, as in the sense of what Canada's done. Nope, never going to mandate the VAX, never going to. And where are we today? So for those people that actually believed wholeheartedly some of this language, let's not gloss over it, in the sense that this is what was said and now this is what's happening. So those are two key things in the sense of I don't want to say, well, it's erosion of the way we had lived and almost dictating what you need to do in order to do this or that. So this is very, very interesting times. And I almost say to people, it's crazy, exciting times, because in a lot of ways, some of this has to happen in a way to break down and to expose and to change. Others are very, very, very optimistic that no matter what is going on right now, this too shall pass. Not the same way as things going to normal, as in Denmark and so forth, but this is a spiritual war, and that things have already been unfolding very good things, and that in essence things will change. But when and how and what's taking place between now, let's say, to that time is very much unknown by people. The timing of it, how long it's going to take, and so you really just kind of have to stay alert, stay informed, but at the same time, step back, stay focused, stay grounded, stay doing the things that bring you play and fun and joy, and be kind and still have compassion, all of that kind of stuff. So you're feeling good, and there's a good reason to feel good. And in the presentation Awakening You, that kind of comes clear on the physical side of things, but of course feeling good comes from the mind, so that's the second part. And in October 18th, 19th, I've decided with Awakening You to break it out so I can actually give a little bit of homework. When I say a little bit, fun exercise, something to do, and that is between the Monday night and the Tuesday night. Just a little bit of homework. And then also by breaking out 2 nights, it adds a whole hour to the presentation, and that will allow me to further elaborate on a few points, a few more points, and perhaps take a little bit more questions. But any which way I slice it, I could spend a whole week in just Awakening You. Could spend a whole week. A little different components, a little different way of explaining things so people can understand things, and bringing stories into play, experiences into play, and also just having people play with things and learn things by doing, and these various different understandings and concepts. So people have to bring a box to the presentation, have to, well, if they choose not to, but a box is very important. A pen, pencil is very important. Paper, not so much, but at the same time, some people like to take notes, but I'd rather them just participate and listen and understand, because even though I'm recording it, the idea is the slides do not have all the information on it. I'd have 1,000 slides if I had to put everything in them, which I know is good to do because you can visually see them. But many people won't end up watching all of Awakening You again. A lot of people won't end up watching it. So it's really good just to participate. But Awakening You, let's just say the second time doing it is October 18, 19. Sign up, because I'm only allowing 19 people. That's all. I don't want any more than that, because I want the question and answer period not to go on all night. I want everybody to be able to get their questions answered. So I think that's a good number, a good energy that way. So you know, the things that we continuously hearing is people getting harmed, and as much as DEATH from the injection, absolutely, and actually it's getting closer to home in some ways for some people, which I will still say, if it takes X to make people wake up or get Y, then that's what's going to need to happen. I mean, that is stuff that's happened forever and ever and ever. Things happen, as they might say in Irish, shite happens, and you end up then now stopping in your tracks, thinking about what happened. So what I heard is there's 2 boys. When I say close to home, where I grew up, at the town of Beaton, which my cousins live not too far, my aunt lives not too far, and in actual fact friends grew up there. And then in Bradford, which a lot of the kids that I knew went to school with went to Bradford High School. Bradford did a theater competition there. There used to be the Village Inn, so you go dancing there. Well, the other people went drinking, but I was the designated driver. So again, closer to home, here's 2 towns where recently 2 teenage school kids died from the injection and heart inflammation. So now they're thinking about doing this and doing that to maybe change things up. But again, for those people here that are listening to certain people, you really have to understand that there's a lot about the physical body. And imagine all these medical doctors that you love and you trust, but they know nothing about the injection. They didn't make it, they didn't create it, they maybe haven't seen any injuries by it. That's a thing. And so they don't really know. So to really ask people that don't have any know about certain things like this, you've got to ask yourself the question, well, how would they know? How would they know? How do you know? Ask that question when anybody gives you information. How do you know? It's something you read, it's something you heard, it's something you heard on the news, you saw in a newspaper. Well, how do you know? They don't. So many of the people do not know. They're not in the know about all of these things. So it's almost like, well, what is true? What is not true? Then you can just come up with the various questions and piece together based on your experience and maybe research. And in my case, I have done a lot of research, and it's just the way my mind works. I bring pieces together, and I sit and in times I park information. I hear other people say certain things, and what is very, very truthful about the situation, things don't add up. Things do not add up. You don't isolate and lock down healthy people, and something that's deadly, think of food poisoning. If everybody eats the piece of food that has food poisoning, or let's say the microbes that are not the microbes you're supposed to have in your body, then you would actually, everybody would get sick. Everybody would get sick. But in this case, no, not everybody's going to say asymptomatic. Not logical. And how can you possibly make decisions based on a country just yakking in your ear, or yakking through the, yeah, I'll say through the ear. Let's pretend they picked up the phone and tell you things, but no proof. No proof whatsoever from China. None. Zippo zilch. How can you follow that? But there was no sense speaking up about it in some ways, because in a lot of ways, as you now have, 18 months or whatever you want to say, the time has passed, and you can see now how things the common sense, the scientific mind has not cropped in here. Not from the standpoint of the leadership who are making the calls. Not at all. They keep playing the games. The games still keep going. So therefore, that tells me that somebody is being blackmailed. Somebody is being paid off. Somebody and somebodies are having to toe the narrative for the reasons that they are. Is it just because they got a mortgage, and it's kind of like the debt slavery thing, which is probably a lot of the people that are just chirping, to tell you the truth. The ones that are just chirping, the medical doctors that come in and do the press conference. It's just a lot of chirping because they are in themselves fearful and believe that there's something out there. And yeah, they just follow what they're being told because they have mortgages, they have families, they don't want to lose that paycheck. And that's kind of what we have. We have the paycheck slavery, we have the debt slavery, and we have a fear that's come in on many, 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 many levels. So much fear. And it's worth stepping back, and it's worth asking the questions, even if you just do as an individual. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to be sending out a series of emails to the leadership on various things. I'm just going to send it from me, not a group, not as part of a group, but just me. And I'm going to ask a certain group of people if they actually want to be copied on it, or BCC, blind copied on it, so that they can see what I'm writing, see what I'm sharing, see how I'm sharing, whatever it is, if they want to. They don't have to be. And then maybe I'll keep a journal of it in a blog. But so many things have been, they've come to me in that respect, because I was thinking about doing this about a week ago, and I'm just kind of sitting with it. I don't want to make it too time consuming, but at the end of the day, we need to be speaking up. We need to be saying no. We need to be saying no, 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 no. Almost like put the brakes on, take a deep breath, ask the hard questions, and we need to support each other. Local businesses, even though they're doing what they're doing to save their ass, save their whatever, their bacon, and some are doing that. But there was a great little app I have, not even an app, it's a document, and the document is very, I don't know if I can bring it up quickly. I'm just going to read, and then we're going to tell some jokes. But this interesting diagram is something you can go into your, here it is, you can go into a restaurant, let's say, or a place, and you actually show your phone. I guess that's what other people go do. And it says here, so the two is, they have the Ontario limit. This person is, I think if I click on it, has natural immunity. So it looks very real as far as government and green and all the colors, so you can kind of see it. And there you go. This person has natural immunity. And the next one, let me just see if I can swipe it here. I'll just show you. It's got a QR code there with a little happy face, but I'll read it to you. Ontario, I don't wish to disclose my health status, but I do wish to support your business. If that works for you, simply say thank you and let's do business. If not, politely ask us to leave. There you go. And I guess if not, then we can politely leave, right? So anyway, the person who gave them to me hasn't tried them yet. A lot of places have their patios and stuff open, so I was curious on whether or not they were actually, but how cool is that? So if you want those diagrams, then let me know, and I will email them to you, or I will text them to you. And I guess maybe if I put them on Messenger and start that, then people can share them. But it's just a nice way to do that. Now there's a couple of other things I wanted to share here. Let's see here. Yeah, this is another one. Flight surgeon grounds jabbed pilots, and you know, that whole jab thing is very interesting. I keep thinking about how that started with Gates, to tell you the truth. And but yeah, so this surgeon, but whether or not it's actually going to happen or not, that's what she wants. So she's filed lawsuits against the DOD and to take this position. So I mean, it sounds like she has grounded the injected pilots, but at the same time she's fighting for that to happen. Yeah, South Africa's highest court set to free the continent from the New World Order. So that was very interesting. So there's a lot of positive things happening and a lot of interesting things that are coming out. So hopefully the optimistic, the positive, but at the same time, it is as much action that still needs to be there. Like Sylvain Henry's group, Glorious and Free, they got together in Ottawa, and then there's the truckers getting together. Now, we are going to interfere with supply and goods and certain things if we, you know, if the truckers continue to do what they do. We just have to understand that gas, fuel, look, yeah, they've been talking about shortages, and I talked about fuel last week, and again, the fuel prices did go up. You could hear Canada. You know, in Canada, they did go up to almost 145. And maybe they were 145 in some places, but I think it was 143.95 or something like that. But it was up there, 143. So all of this stuff is, well, as they talk about inflation, is coming through, and it's definitely going to hit people differently. So be prepared is probably the thing that a number of people are saying across the board. Doesn't even matter if they're more intuitive or not. It's be prepared in a sense. Some of that is some of this, and other things is, well, what happens if your electricity goes down? What would you do? What are the things you have to do in your home to do this or that? So many things are coming into play. Obviously, water is very, very key. and you can keep a tub or two filled because that would help you with your toilet if that's the water that you have. You have access to your well. You have access to your generator. Does your generator work? Do you have access to charge, a solar charger to charge your phone? Now, some of these things may go down. And in essence, there is definitely other things at foot. Very optimistic, very positive. So if that makes you feel good, that's great. But you can see that both things are coming through almost like a whoo, like it could be very rocky on the information sea. Let's just put it that way. So having said that, and again, I know I have a pile of books here, but this book will give you all of the optimism you need for self. It's all about self. And a course of love and how to just love yourself, and how things, how we create. I mean, we've heard this. We're creators. We can manifest. We are in the image of the Creator. All of these things. Then you have this book here. Not that I want you to run out and read this crazy one for sure. This is the sequel to the Homo or Sapiens one, Homo Deus. Brief History of Tomorrow. Well, you will be part machine if you read this one. And you better do as you're told, because, the things that the government and the leaders and these overarching groups know what's better for you. And then this book will tell you, I haven't finished, I just did a dent in it, and then this book will tell you not, just to prove to you that God doesn't exist. But here's the thing, and in essence, we have these things going on where one will tell you this and the other one will tell you, no, it can't be that because you don't have proof for that. And this is the whole thing about many subjects is in the way science, it almost has to be absolute, which it isn't quite often. They don't know how the body works because they don't have the cure for the cold and they don't have the cure for cancer. But in essence, and I know I talk about this through Awakening You, there is understandings. I'm not saying absolute. You can take a pill and this is going to happen. That's not how it works. And I think that's the confusing part for people. It's almost like you have to somewhat believe and gather a deeper understanding of how things work in order to get there, because it's mind over matter. Mind over matter. And we're familiar with that, intuition and mind over matter. And Awakening You, the presentation, is about coming to terms with the understandings, not the magic bullet. And the magic bullets are, take a pill and you're cancer free. Now, that doesn't work. You're having a heart attack, take a pill, and the heart attack will go completely away. This is just not how it works. And sometimes it's not even as black and white as they like to have it, and people like to have that, but there surely is a lot of optimism to say if you do this, then this is going to happen, or perhaps happen. And this is what I'm seeing about the talk of the pills coming out, where if you do this, you won't get into the hospital. Now, again, we have to back up and say, well, what is the root cause? Why do I even have a bunch of these symptoms anyway? You come and watch Awaken You presentation October 18, 19, and you will have the complete understanding of the root causes. And to me, I can't give any better gift, really. Unless somebody's thirsty and I have water, somebody's starving next to succumbing, give them food. I can't give any better gift than giving the understandings of the things that I'm sharing in Awakening You. There's going to be your own experiences and your own kind of underlying things, but that's the unique part. We do have a unique part. And if you're a holistic practitioner like myself, you'll know that we've been told through David Rowlands and others that there is a uniqueness. It could be the length of your bile ducts, the number of cells you have in your blood. Do you have more red blood cells or less blood red cells? The position of organs, the size of organs. All of these things kind of make us unique, or in some cases, family similar, or lifestyle driven, where certain things will appear. Anyway, is there a doctor in the house? So let's go and right to tell jokes. There's lots of news, but let's fall into some jokes here. Is there a doctor in the house is the chapter section in this book, and I got some little stories here. So Mac and Jack, they just love the names to rhyme. So Mac says, what did the Pilgrims come over on? Jack, the Mayflower. Mac, on what did the midgets come on? Jack, shrimp boats. And Mac says, well, what did the doctors come on? Jack says, blood vessels. The next one, we've got the prison guard and we've got the warden having a conversation. Prison guard, sir, I want to report that 12 prisoners have just broken out. Warden, well, sound the alarm, blow the whistle, issue machine guns. Prison guard, well, let me call the doctor first, because it looks as if it might be measles. Bert and Gert. So Bert and Gert's having a conversation, and Bert says, Billy sure is a blockhead. Gert, well, why do you say that? Bert, the other day he found a feather in his bed, and he was sure he had chicken pox. There you go. Bob and Rob. Bob, why is a dentist like a gas station attendant? Why is a dentist like a gas station attendant? Rob, I don't know. Why? Bob, they're both run filling stations. They both run filling stations. And last one for the page. I haven't read this one, so we'll just see how it goes. Two men were sitting in the doctor's office, and after a while they decided to talk. I'm aching from arthritis, the one man said. Well, glad to meet you, said the other. I'm Willie from Philly. I'm Willie from Philly. I'm aching from arthritis. There you go. Now, this is an old book. Let me tell you, it's 50 years old, so the humor is 50 years old and aging as every day goes by. So I'm going to leave you on that note. Again, happy Thanksgiving, but for everybody, enjoy the evening of the long weekend. And time will tell. We'll see what's happened, but be prepared and do yourself a favor and have fun. And be aware, but be prepared. Take care, everyone. Enjoy your evening, and we will see you again live at 5 next Monday. Bye for now.